My name is Catherine Baines and I'm going to be with you for the next half an hour talking about my six-figure blueprint. There's quite a few faces that I recognise in the audience, so thank you for coming to support me this evening. But for those of you that don't know me, I just want to take a moment to tell you about who I am, what I do and why you should listen up for the next half an hour. So, I'm a local girl. I went to the Chase High School, did my GCSEs and A-levels there. I then went on to Oxford Brookes University to do a degree in retail management. I worked at various retailers throughout my career, and when I turned 25 I decided that I actually wanted to become an accountant. And so I joined ACCA, which is the largest accountancy association in the world. I got a training position at Kendall Wadley, just down the road. And after qualifying, I went on to work at Tube Trade as a group accountant. And that was an absolutely fantastic opportunity because we were importing steel tube from India, China and Spain. So I was dealing with buying currency forward at spot rates in the hundreds of thousands of pounds. It's a great experience. But what I really wanted to do was come back into practice and work with more and more small businesses. So I got a position at WG Chartered Accountants down in Cheltenham. After 3 years there, I was made a director. And then a few years later, I set up my own business, Beacon Accountancy and Tax. And that's where I spend most of my time now. So Beacon Accountancy and Tax is based at the Which Innovation Centre, just up the road. And we do what it says on the tin. We do your year-end accounts and tax and keep you compliant with HMRC. And then a few months ago, I set up the Business Pod, which is really the business advisory side of the business. So why should you listen to what I've got to say today? So I went from a trainee accountant to a director of somebody else's practice within 7 years. In my industry, the average is 20 years. I also did it at the age of 32, and the average in the industry is 42, especially for women in the industry. I've also got my first book published, which is a practical guide to setting up your business. We've got copies on sale on our stand this evening. And our second book, A Six-Figure Blueprint, which is what I'm going to talk to you about this evening, that will be published hopefully before Christmas. So the Business Pod was set up to educate, motivate and inspire small business owners like yourselves to take action in their business to help them to become more successful. Just before we get into the blueprint, I just want to ask you a question. What does success mean to you? Now, the Oxford Dictionary definition is it's the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. So just think about that for a moment. What are your aims and your purposes in your business life? So maybe it's the material things in life, so having enough money in the bank, a nice car on the drive, or money to go on holidays abroad. Maybe it's the non-material things, like having enough time to do hobbies and spend with the family. It could be that your success means to you is a vocation, so having enough time to devote to charities or causes that mean a lot to you, or enough money in the bank that you can donate to local business, local charities. And I suspect for most of you it's going to be a mix of all three of those things. My point here is, if you don't know what success means to you, it's going to be very hard for you to actually create a business that delivers you the success that you're looking for. So how do you achieve success? And ultimately, whether it's the material things or the non-material things, you need to take action. This wheelbarrow won't move on its own. You've actually got to pick it up and move it. You need to do something to make a difference. And I quite like this quote here. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something that you've never done. So what I'm asking you to do is take note this evening and take away what I'm talking to you about and actually take action in your business to help you become more successful. So just before we get into the blueprint, I just want to ask you a question. So who finds more pearls? A pearl diver or a taxi driver? Any guesses? Precisely. It's not a trick question. The answer is a pearl diver. Why? Because they're looking for them. You know, it's not rocket science. What you look for, you get. Think about the last time you went car shopping. You probably had a look through the local paper or one of the online search engines and you decided what car that you wanted. And this car probably hadn't ever been on your radar, but now you know it is. You've seen one at the supermarket, one round the corner, one in the car park at work. Why? Because it's on your radar, you know what you're looking for, and therefore it seems like they're around everywhere. And my point on this is that now you know what success means to you, you now need to know who your ideal client is. Because if you know who your ideal client is, when it comes to implementing the blueprint, your job will be a lot easier. So think about Are you selling business to business or is it to end user? Where do they hang out? What demographic are they in? How much do they earn? How do they earn a living? What geographical location are they in? And you need to create an image, or what some people call is create an avatar, and to really pinpoint exactly who your ideal client is. Because a lot of the stuff we do through the blueprint is all about marketing, and if you don't know who your ideal client is, actually putting the marketing materials together and the sales copy is going to be extremely difficult if you don't really know who you're aiming to. So let's get into the six-figure blueprint. So the aim of the six-figure blueprint is ultimately to take you from around the £20,000–30,000 mark of an existing business up to the 100,000 or 100,000 plus. Time frame for doing this is 12 to 24 months, and it works extremely well if you've got an existing client base. But that's not to say if you're a startup business this won't work, because what we're going to cover in the blueprint are really fundamental business basics that any business can implement. And what I've done, probably have heard a lot of coaches from various things talk about the 4 ways to grow your business, or the 5 proven ways to grow your business. Well, ultimately this is a similar thing, but I've put it into what's called the BAINES model. So if you can remember my name, Catherine Baines, hopefully you can remember BAINES model and the acronym that goes with it. So I'm just going to go through the blueprint quickly now, and then we'll look into a little bit more detail in each of the areas. So to achieve that 6 figures, what you first of all need to do is you need to build your network. So this is all about how many people know you exist. Once you've got that network, you then need to add value to it. So give them enough value that they put their hand up in the air and say, I'm interested in what you do. Once you've got them interested, you then need to put an irresistible offer in front of them, an offer that they can't refuse. And that turns them into a new client, or it turns notes into money, and so that's how much that they spend with you. Then you need to go the extra mile to keep them coming back again and again and again. And that equals your sales value. We're going to show you an example of that in a moment. And underpinning all of this is systems. If you can get systems and processes into the blueprint, it will make your life an awful lot easier, and a lot of this you can actually put on autopilot. And what you do is, if you do things in each of the 5 areas, you actually create what is called synergy or compounding. Some call it the multiplier effect. If you do just one thing, you won't get that synergy, and I'll show you an example of that in a moment. And all of this, as I've just said, is underpinned with systems. So, warning alert, I'm going to show you some figures now. Well, being a typical accountant, I don't expect you to expect it any other way. But here is an example of the BAINES model in work. So in this example, we're saying that we've got 1,000 people that know that we exist, and we've got added enough value that 10% have said they're interested in what we do. So that's given us 100 hot leads in effect. Of that 100 people, we've put an irresistible offer in front of them, and we've got 10% of them to actually say, yes, I want to buy. If those 10 people are buying £500 from us and they buy from us once a year, it's given us a sales value of £5,000. Everyone with me so far? Okay, so let's have a look at an example if we just make a tweak in one of the area. So, in example 2, if we just increase the amount of people that we know from 1,000 up to 2,000, that's the only thing we're changing on this. We're just increasing building our network to increase the amount of people that know we exist. We've still only got 10% that are interested, 10% that take up the offer. They're still spending £500 with us, and they buy from us once a year. It's doubled our sales figure from 5,000 to 10,000 just by doing something in one area. And that's the same for each of these. So if we go back to having 1,000 people in our network, but this time we're increasing, we've got a 10% increase in the amount of people that are interested in what we're doing. We've added enough value now, we've given more value than before, and we've actually got 20% of them interested. We've now got 200 people out of that 1,000 that are really interested in what we do. We put that offer to them, and we've still got 10%, only 10% that take up the offer, but ultimately our bottom line has gone from 5,000 to 10,000, and that's the same on each of these things. So if we now look at the amount taken up the offer, so again back to what we had at the start, but this time we're increasing the amount that take up the offer just by 10%, again the bottom line doubles. And it's the same if we double the order value or double the amount of times that they come back. Now look what happens if we do something in each one of those areas simultaneously, and that is what creates the synergy. So if we can double the amount of people that are in our network, and I know that's a 50% increase, but ultimately that should be the easiest thing that you can do. So with social media and events like this, I'm here today to build my network. Actually, this baseline bit should be the easiest thing out of all of these 5 steps. So now we've got 2,000 people in our network. If we can have a 10% increase to go to 20%, we've now got 20% of the 2,000 that give us 400 people that say, yes, I'd like to know more. Of that 400 people, if we can go from 10% to 20% taking up the offer, we've got 80 people that are actually going to spend money with us. And what I've done here to really get to the 100,000 is, I actually think it's a little bit unrealistic to go from £500 per transaction to a £1,000 transaction. However, to just a 25% increase, I think that is achievable for every single business. And when we go into that in a bit more detail, I'll tell you things that you can do to actually make that happen. And then if we can get them to come back twice a year instead of once a year, you've then gone from 5,000 to 100,000, and that's how you get your 6-figure business. So it's all about creating synergy and doing something in each of these areas, because all of these areas overlap to actually give you the results. And I've just got an example to share here with you. And this isn't directly related to the BAINES model, but it's something that stuck with me and really sort of hits home the power of synergy and compounding. And that is, if you take a penny and you double it for 30 days, how much would it be worth after 30 days? So if I gave you a penny today and you had systems and processes in place that could turn that 1 pence into a 2 pence tomorrow, to 4 pence the next day, to 8 pence the next, to 16 the next, after 30 days, how much would it be worth? Anybody? Give me a figure. $1 million. Any advances on $1 million? Say that again. 16. Not far off. 10.7 million. By day 15, it's still only about £300. But another example of that was, it was on a TV programme I was watching recently, and they said if you put £5,000 into an investment fund that would give you a 10% return year on year, once your child got to the age of 55, there'd be £945,000 in the bank just from that one investment of £5,000. And that's sort of the power of compacting and compounding and leverage. So just bear that in mind, because it's quite powerful stuff. So back to the model. So you need to build your network, you need to add value to that network, and then present the people in that network with an irresistible offer. That then turns them into a new client value, and you go the extra mile to keep them coming back again and again and again. And the B times the percentage of A times the percentage of I times the amount that they spend times the amount of times they buy from you gives you your sales figure. And just remember, all of this is underpinned with your systems. So let's look at a bit more detail into each of these. So how to build your network. So think about how can you build your network, and this is where you need to know who your ideal client is. Because if you know who your ideal client is, you're going to know where they are, you'll know where to find them. The key things that I did when I set up Beacon Accountancy was networking, and I went to absolutely every single networking event that was in Worcestershire really. And although I only got a couple of clients directly from the networking, I grew my business based on that, because people know people who know people, because you don't know who they know, and word gets round. So I would say, irrespective of whether your ideal client is there, networking possibly is still a fundamental that I would suggest that you do. Social media nowadays is, you've got to be on there to stay competitive. But again, knowing where your ideal client is. So I'd say the key ones are Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. But maybe not for all businesses. LinkedIn or Twitter would be right. Again, it depends who what target market you're in and who your ideal client is. Adverts and brand awareness. Again, it's all about it's about brand awareness and getting the word out there to people about what you do. But just be careful with adverts to make sure that you're not spending a lot of money and not getting the return. It's quite difficult to track if you haven't got clients coming directly from the adverts, if you've done it from put it in the paper or in a magazine. But just with all of this marketing, you just need to measure and manage as much as you can. And then general marketing, so an online strategy and an offline strategy. One thing that keeps coming up at a lot of seminars that I've done recently is don't forget old-fashioned marketing, sending letters to people, because they get read. If you send a physical newsletter to somebody and it actually lands on their desk, it might well stay around there for a bit longer, because if you send it on email, it's so easy to delete an email, and I suspect a lot of it doesn't get read. And that's where something with for From a systems point of view, you could look at using MailChimp for sending out newsletters, because it's then going to tell you how many clients have actually, or how many potential clients have actually opened up your emails. So for building your network, from a numbers point of view, how many people know you exist? Okay, on to adding value. So what can you give to your network to add value? And adding value will really help you maximise the amount of hot leads. And what I would say, the biggest thing that you could do from an added value point of view is position yourself as the expert, so that people actually sign up to your newsletter. They'll actually sign up to get the free reports, because if you've done enough marketing and brand awareness in the building your network stage, when it comes to adding the value, you've already got an audience there to promote yourself to. And it could be things like offering a free meeting, or if you're in a product-based business, free product samples, or even just regular blog posts. And it's all about engaging with that network and getting them to be interested in what you're doing. So what percentage of people can you get to say that I'm interested in what you do? So once you've got them signed up and you've got that regular contact going, you can then put an irresistible offer in front of them. And it needs to be an offer that they can't refuse. So you need to have really good sales copy, specific to your unique selling point, your USP, but also to your ideal client. So again, it goes back to the fact that if you know who your ideal client is, when it comes to writing the copy, you know what you're going to have to put in that letter to make them buy, because you know them inside out, you know what makes them tick, and you know what's going to actually make them take the next step and give you money. And it needs to be great value for money. You could include bonuses for free, buy now, pay later, maybe instalment plans. So this is all about what percentage of the people that are interested can you get to take up your offer. And then this leads into how much they've bought from you. So they've said, yes, I want to take up the offer. So now it's all about getting that price up with upselling, cross-selling add-ons. Also, you could look at doing associations with other companies that have got clients maybe of a similar, similar target market. And another one that I really believe in is actually training staff. Because if your staff don't know the full list of products that you offer, when they come to actually close a sale with a potential client, they're not going to know what things that they can add on or cross-sell or upsell, because they're not aware of actually the full product range. Another good one on here is looking at packages, so offering a bronze, silver, gold package. Studies have shown that if you offer 3 different packages, most clients will actually take the middle package. They might not be able to afford the gold at the moment, but they don't want to feel that they're at the sort of the lowest level, so quite often they will take that middle option. And so this is all about how much does a customer spend with you. And now you've got them as a paying customer, you need to go that extra mile. So what can you do that your competitors don't? What can you do that will make them return again and again and again? And this is all about maybe looking at, can you give any guarantee to the product or the service, warranties, a loyalty card. So for example, a lot of the coffee shops give you a loyalty card to get you, because that's a very competitive market, but by giving you a loyalty card, hopefully you'll go back into them again and again. It could be simple like giving free support, or even 24-hour support, depending on what industry you're in. Free returns, or even a long return period. And all of these things help to create that customer loyalty, to help them coming back again and again and again, because you don't want them going to your competitor. And this is all about how many times a customer returns a year. As I say, all of this is underpinned with systems, because systems actually create efficiency and help you to sort of extrapolate this model even further. So just to recap, the BAINES model, you need to build your network, you need to add value to that network. You then need to give them an irresistible offer, one that they can't refuse, that turns them into a new client value. You then go the extra mile to keep them coming back again and again and again. That equals your sales value, and underpinning all of this is your systems. So what I urge you to do is actually take the time out to work on your business and not just in it. If you haven't made notes on this and want to find out more, we have got this on the front page of our website, just as a refresher. And just to show you the BAINES model in action, I'm here tonight to build the network, to brand awareness of the Business Pod, get the word out there. This is who we are and what we're doing. Hopefully I've added value to you today with the talk that I've done today, and that you've actually got something that you can take away and implement in your business. And so now I'm going to give you an irresistible offer. So what we're doing is, if you'd like to find out more about the blueprint and how actually have me help you implement that in your business, we're doing a 6-figure blueprint boot camp. It's going to be on the 9th of December down at Open Space in Malvern, and we're going to go through a lot more of the tools and systems that we've actually used in our business. And so you'll go away with your own blueprint. So it's on Friday the 9th of December at Open Space Meeting Rooms, 9 for a 9:30 start till 4:30. We're going to give you lunch and all the refreshments throughout the day. If you'd like to book a place, come and see us on the stand. And we're doing an early bird offer of £47 plus VAT. And that's valid till the 31st of October. You can also book via Eventbrite, but if you book with us this evening, then once our 6-figure blueprint book is published, which should be by the 9th of December, we'll give you a copy of that for free. So thank you ever so much for listening this evening, and I hope there's something useful there that you can take away and use in your business. And if you've got any questions at all, come and see me on the stand. Right, thank you.